If you've seen Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, then you'll most likely agree that Death the Wolf is not only the best character from the movie, but one of the best characters of the year. I really love this movie, but it seems that all of my absolute most favorite scenes happen when this character was on the screen, and I'm sure a lot of you feel the same way too. But why? What makes Death such a great villain? That is exactly what I'm going to be breaking down for us today as I go over why Death is one of the best villains of all time. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to hit that bell to stay notified whenever I drop a new one. For my character study, I'm going to be analyzing three aspects: screen presence, effect on the narrative, and memorability. First, let's take a look at screen presence. It makes sense to start with the first scene Death shows up in, which is his encounter with Puss at the bar. I genuinely think that this is the best scene from the movie, and I intend to break down what makes this scene so great in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But for now, why is Death so great in this scene? Well, for starters, he immediately comes across as a menacing and powerful threat from the beginning. The way he gets the jump on Puss, the way he looms over him, the way he easily defeats Puss and even almost kills him, all of these things lend themselves to making Death exactly what a good villain should be: intimidating. Death is so intimidating that just his iconic whistle can give Puss panic attacks, and whenever he appears on the screen, even the audience feels a sense of dread. The mostly light-hearted tone of the movie significantly shifts every time Death appears, and that is because Puss, along with the audience, fears him. He is not played off for laughs and is taken extremely seriously, and being presented as an extremely dangerous threat to Puss. In order to be great, a villain needs to be a threatening and powerful opposing force that pushes the protagonist to their limits, and Death does this to perfection. Now that we've seen how Death has a true villain's screen presence, let's take a look at how he impacts the narrative of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Death is the whole catalyst not only for the story, but also for Puss's character transformation. It is Puss's near-death encounter with the wolf, which eventually makes him want to go on the journey to find the wishing star and regain his lives. However, this encounter with the wolf is also what makes Puss realize his mortality, and what begins to humble him as he learns fear and the value of life. Just as a good villain should, the wolf successfully moves the plot as well as challenges and grows the main character. In the last section, I talked about how Death was a threat on screen. However, Death's presence is still strongly felt even when he's off screen as well. If you think about it, Death really only shows up in 3 scenes for any significant amount of time. Throughout the rest of the movie, Death is carried through smaller moments where he's seen stalking Puss and appears to be getting ever closer. And yet, despite his relatively little screen time, the wolf's presence is still strongly felt throughout the entire story. Because he's the catalyst for the plot, anytime we're reminded of why Puss needs to get this wish, we are thereby also reminded of Death. Similarly, anytime we see Puss worried or scared, in contrast to how he first appeared at the beginning of the movie, we attribute that fear to the wolf, since he is the one who quite literally put the fear of death into Puss during their first fight. With how little Death actually shows up in this movie, it's amazing how much he impacts the characters and the narrative, and it's a testament to his greatness as a villain. The last point of a marvelous villain I want to touch on is memorability. All of the best villains are the most memorable ones, the ones who we remember even more than the story or the main characters. Death is one of those villains. As I stated at the beginning of the video, pretty much every good or cool moment I remember from this movie was somehow related back to the wolf. When I look back on this movie, the first thing I think about is Death the Wolf, and it's really no surprise why. He is a menacing presence throughout the entire movie. When he's on screen, he commands the attention of the audience, and when he's off screen, his encounters are impacting the events of the narrative. Finally, he also has a musical motif, a sort of indicator of whenever he's about to come on screen, which is his soon-to-be iconic whistle. Remember how I said that every time the wolf showed up, the tone of the movie significantly shifted and the characters as well as the audience felt a sense of dread? That tonal shift is brought about by the wolf, but it's indicated by the whistle. And that sort of preemptive warning really helps lend itself to etching the wolf into our minds well after the final credits roll. All you have to do is ask people who watched the movie what they remembered most about it, to see that death was the best and most memorable part of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. And that was due to his unforgettable screen presence and his powerful impact on the events of the film. Thanks for watching my character study, and I hope you enjoyed it and learned a thing or two. Oh, and stay tuned for a breakdown of Death's first scene in the movie, as I plan on making a video analyzing why that scene is so good sometime in the near future. The best way to stay notified for that is to subscribe and hit that bell. So hey, if that video is something you want to see, then you should probably do that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Have a great day.